the story of Miss Nilofer Nargisbeg. During the first Taliban regime in Afghanistan, she was barred from attending school, deprived of her fundamental right to education, an experience that mirrors the reality many Afghan girls face today. Although classrooms were close to her, but her commitment to learning did not stop. For 5 years, she pursued disciplined, self-directed study at home, sustaining her academic progress despite restriction and uncertainty. When access to education was restored, she did not merely return, she excelled. She completed her examination with distinction, earning 2 bachelor degree, first one BS in physics and second one BS in biochemistry, and MS in science education from the University of Kiel in UK. Fortunately, her perseverance was recognized internationally with the Education and Inspiration Award in United Kingdom, and she was awarded the Heroes Medal of Excellence. Guys, and dear all participants in this virtual room, why I mentioned this story and what was my purpose behind this. Actually, her journey reminds us that education transcends physical classrooms. It is sustained by resilience, discipline, and purpose. Barriers, challenges, problems, and struggles, and many more may obstruct access, but they cannot extinguish determination. As you all know, tonight's session titled How to Learn New Topics and Subjects Effectively, the Science of Memory, Focus, and Deep Work. As we know, in a world filled with distraction, the ability to focus deeply and retain information effectively is not just a skill, it's a strategic advantage. So, whether you are a student, a professional, or a lifelong learner, this session is designed to provide practical research based insights so you can easily apply and immediately. They're all, I don't want to speak a lot, so it's now my honor to introduce our speaker. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Nilofer Nargisbeg as a both scientist and educationist. She began bring us tonight an evidence-based perspective on how our brains encode, store, and retrieve information, and how we can optimize all this procedure for meaningful learning. So before I hand over the session, a few quick reminder. Please keep your mics mute while a speaker is speaking or giving presentation. Secondly, kindly share if any question is jumping on your mind. Feel free to drop on chat box and we will dedicate all the questions at the end of this session. And additionally, please note that this session is going to record for educational purpose. Furthermore, you are able to find this on ژورو YouTube. Ms. Nilofer, I'm honored to welcome you tonight in this session. And honestly, I was super excited about this event, and the virtual floor is all yours. Thanks a bunch, dear all.
Hello, folks. Hello. Dear Salamuna, Udranawai Tasutulatam, Randikam. Thank you very much, Mursal John and Danashar. I'm very happy that I am with you guys today. Thank you for the... Hello?
Yes, we have eyes. Please, Abdul Qudus, kindly mute yourself.
دیر من بسیار زیاد تشکر از همه شما و بسیار زیاد خوشحالم که امروز در جمع هم هستیم و امیدوار هستم که پرزنتیشن را که ما تهیه کردیم در مورد کاگنیتیو اوورلود یا فشار ذهنی و همچنان یاد گرفتن یا استادی براتون مفید واقع شود. بسیار زیاد تشکر و همچنان میخوایم یادآور شم که پرزنتیشن به اساس تقاضای دوستا و مرسل جان دانشیار ما به لسان انگلیسی تهیه کردیم. امیدوار هستم که مفید واقع شود. تشکر. Are we good to go, مرسل جان؟
Yes, we are ready. Thanks a bunch.
Okay, brilliant. So, folks, today's session is about cognitive load and learning. So we will be talking about some science behind it and some research-based information. Okay, so we're going to go to our starter activity. Now, در شروع که ما دقیقا لغتون ایخی دی, I've got some words here for you guys. Can you just read these words and memorize as many as you can? You've got 20 seconds to do so. So your time starts now, folks. The words are apple, mirror, river, chair, tiger, book, star, clock, glass, tree, mountain, and phone. Got 20 seconds to memorize as many as you can, please. Okay, you've got 5 seconds now. You've got 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So I'm going to make them disappear now. I would like you to write me down as many as you can remember in your chat box, please. However many you remember, it doesn't matter. It's just our starter warm-up activity. So far I see none. So can everybody hear me? Okay, so right, okay. I've got clock for glass, okay. Tree, yeah, okay, good. River, mountain, phone, mountain, tree, river, clock, glass, okay, okay, that's good, right, book, okay. Okay, brilliant, thank you. Excellent, very good, yeah, thank you. Right, yeah, brilliant, thank you. So, why do we forget so quickly is the question. Now, similar to the activity that we've done, folks, oh, thank you. That's enough. We're going to move on now, folks. I'm going to challenge you again with some more now. Okay, thank you, folks. So the next slide, I'm going to display some numbers for you. And you would have 20 seconds again, like how we did for this activity, to memorize as many of these numbers as you can. Okay, so I'm going to display that screen now. There's the screen with you guys. You've got 20 seconds to memorize as many as you can, please. Sahar, Saf, Safa, Sahi, we've moved on to the next activity now, but thank you for sharing your answers. Okay, so I've got these numbers and you've got 20 seconds to memorize as many as you can, please. Okay, we've got 5 more seconds. Got 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And they've gone. Now, can you type it now for me, please? Mursal Danashia, thank you. I wouldn't call that cheating, but you've typed it a bit earlier to me. But it's okay. Well done. Okay, Milad, thank you. Good. Very good response. Oh, wow. Oh, that looks definitely like a picture's been taken. It's okay, Mursal. It's okay. Brilliant. Okay, nice one. Now, thank you, folks. Thank you for sharing your response with me. Okay, excellent. Brilliant. I've got really good engagement, folks. Thank you. That's really interesting. Um, okay, so I'm going to ask you a question now. Which one was easier to remember? Was the words easier to remember, or was it the numbers to remember? So, which one was easy to memorize? Can you type it up for me, please? Words, yeah, okay, good. Words, right, okay. Oh, I've got somebody called Adiba Atta. Just wanted to let you know, Adiba, that I've got my oldest child called Adiba as well. Very nice name. Humaira, yeah, the words, okay, brilliant. Sadia, Tamanna Ibrahim, yeah, okay, the words, brilliant, thank you. Okay, excellent, folks. So the interesting part here is I want to share with you guys is the words are easier. And here is a little bit of science and secret that I want to tell you now. The words are easier because the words are already made some kind of connection. For example, if you think about apple is a word that's made out of APPLE. So and also as soon as you say apple, your brain automatically kind of create that image of apple in the back of your head. So the brain it's easier for the brain, the working memory, to connect that into the back of our head, which is the long-term memory, to kind of recall the information and store that and send it to the back of our head, because the words are already made out of so many letters and there is some kind of connection into our prior knowledge. So we have got some kind of knowledge about each one of these words. So that's why it's easier for us to memorize them, or at least retain one or two or three of these words. In comparison to those numbers that were displayed, the numbers made no sense to your brains. Yes, they were like numbers, but in terms of any patterns, any kind of link into your prior knowledge, there was nothing that your brain can connect and then hold and retain these information. So that's why to memorizing those numbers was really, really difficult. Basically, today we will be talking about some techniques and some strategies to remember and how to work effectively to kind of know the process of the two main concepts, which is the memory process and the cognitive load, which is kind of smoothly take us to the aim and objectives of today's session. So by the end of this session, I'm hoping that you will be able to understand memory process, explain cognitive load theory. It's also referred to as CLT. Understand cognitive overload, apply techniques to reduce cognitive overload, develop and apply effective learning strategies to improve understanding and retention of information. So, moving on to our the two different types of memory, working memory and long-term memory. So the working memory has got limited capacity and it can get easily overloaded. The working memory is very important in learning new contents, because this is where we will be learning and picking up information, and then that kind of send the information to the larger capacity, which is the long-term memory, and it's got larger capacity and it can store knowledge through encoding or coding. Okay, and cognitive load theory, it's basically it's a mental load that working memory is being asked to process information and in understanding new content or completing a task. And cognitive overload is so that is a load. So load theory is based on the ideas on working memory has got the limited capacity, and giving too much information or too much instructions and at once kind of overload the working memory. It's the same thing like if you give a person too many tasks all in one go in a limited time, the person would not be able to physically complete those tasks, any of these tasks, because of the limitation of time. It's the same concept with working memory, but there are some loads that we can kind of go into a little bit of more detail, and we will talk about them as well. So there are two loads when we are talking about cognitive overload that we need to be aware of. And these two loads, well, there are three, but the main ones are two. That's the intrinsic load, which is this one here. This load is, and the extraneous load. And these are the two main ones that we need to think about and these in order for our learning to take place. So intrinsic loads can be influenced by the information the complexity of the task, the prior knowledge of the individual, so how much the person knows, and all these can kind of reduce the intrinsic load. When I say reduce, so if the task and the topic is really, really complex, of course, it's not going to reduce it. But if the person has got some prior knowledge in terms of that to link to this new content that he's learning or she's learning, it will reduce the intrinsic load. And it also, I've already mentioned the complexity of the task. So the extraneous load, which is this one here, that's the load that we need to reduce this load. Okay, well, the intrinsic load needs to be simplified. I can go into more detail into that in a little while, so just bear with me, please. Extraneous load is how the information is presented to the learner. Okay, so that could be about the different way and loads of information, like in a PowerPoint, if there's too many tasks and there's too many writing and very little visual help and visual aid, that kind of overload the working memory. And it also is like if you cannot find the specific information that you're looking at, that's also part of the extraneous load. The environment is also included in this extraneous load. Where we are learning, if there's too many noisy like distractions, different pictures, images, not a calm environment, this kind of overload our working memory. It has got a very strong impact on our working memory. So it's really important to reduce this extraneous load and increase intrinsic load, but then also the German load, which is the deep thinking load. It's not really, it's very important. We need to increase this load, and we need to also increase the intrinsic load and German load, but decrease this load. So when there's intrinsic load and extraneous load, both of the combination of the two results in overwhelming our working memory. When that working memory is overwhelmed and overloaded, then the learning, the information is stopped. The information is not processed in our head, which means very, very little learning will take place. Bare minimum, basically. So research suggests that we need to simplify the intrinsic load. What does that mean? So the task needs to be break down into chunks, and it needs to be introduced one task at the time, and enable the students and the learners to master that task before we allow them to practice independently. The other one, which is let me just move this a little bit, sorry, so I can look at the German load. That's also the deep thinking and processing information. We need to improve that. We need to increase that. So that means we have to give ourselves a time to boost our learning, to kind of increase that deep thinking about it in order to digest and embed the new information and the new content that we've learned. Okay, so I'm going to move on to our forgetting curve. This curve is really, really important, and there's loads of studying happening still on this curve. Sorry, what does this curve suggest? This is the curve it's the x-axis is the time. It's how long after we will be able to recall and retain the information. The y-axis, or this vertical axis, is the retention of information. So it's just give us a percentage. So 100% retention, 80%, 60%, so on and so forth. And the curve itself is an exponential curve, which means with the little small amount of time that goes by, the amount of learning will drop significantly. So if we look at this line here, this is when we start to learn the new information, and this is where it starts. Okay, so we've got the new information, we study something new, and we've got it here. And if you look as the time goes by, so within an hour here, the information the new information that we've learned we've only can hold on to, it's dropped to below 50% of it, so we cannot even retain the information. 50% of it, it's below 50%. Basically, if you look at it, it's lower than 40%. So about 30% of the information we can hold on as after 1 hour. In about a day or so, it's below 20%. And this forgetting curve suggests here that if we revisit the content that we learn, the new content, so second day we've revisited not second day, like we revisited the information, say within a day or so, the retention of information, which is this curve here, which had the dotted, the dashed line here, this line, the straight line, not the curve, sorry, that shows me the retention of information, and look at it, how it's different for the first one. And it kind of helps us to reduce the forgetting or losing the information from our long-term memory, yes. And if we revisit the information again on the third occasion here, that reduces the chance of forgetting the information and increase the chance of retention. So the retention is higher here in comparison to the first time. The second time it's gone higher, and then it's got even more higher the third time. The fourth time, look at the curve here. The fourth time it's gone even like above 60%, which is really, really good. So the message here and the secret is repetition. Repetition and revisiting, retrieving, and revising the new content again and again in a spaced interval and in a very ordered, so that you train your brain to remember these information and that they are essential to you. So yeah, this is and how you're gonna disrupt this forgetting curve, meaning how you're gonna reduce the chance of you forgetting your new content. Let me just see if I can move on to the next one. Okay, so you repeated an intentional spaced review of the new content. Review the first 24 hours after learning. It's really, really important, very crucial, as you can look at the forgetting curve, that within an hour, we're going to forget like 50%, more than 50% of the content. So it's really important to go and revisit the new content within 24 hours and review again several times every 2 to 4 days. Now you can do these review by self-testing, by flashcard, by practicing quizzes, and everybody's different and everybody can do their reviewing in a different ways. That will then enable you to deep work for yourself, as we say, that German load kind of thing. So what you need to do then, you need to do focused, distraction-free effort. So you need to avoid multitasking, which is not good for when you're learning. You need to give yourself 45 minutes focus blocks. And within that 45 minutes of focus blocks, you can do quizzes, flashcards, and self-testing. Doing this will enable you, will allow you, or give you a chance to identify your knowledge will be able to do all these phone-free study sessions. So that's really important, because the one thing that, yes, I agree that there's loads of good thing in phone and, ChatGPT, this, that, and the other, but you really need to do focus on a phone-free sessions for yourself, and also build concentration stamina for yourself. Again, everybody's different and it depends on every individual. So practical retrieval strategies I suggested here for you guys. If you practice your lesson or your retrieval exercise by 3 questions from last lesson, 2 questions from last week, and 1 question from last month, that kind of strengthen your long-term memory. It builds up your retrieval practice, and it kind of give you a chance to kind of go through all the learning that you've done in the past, in the last week, in the last month, and in the last year, and so on and so forth. And it's really important for you and your brain to have these sessions planned, and you go in that specific time and that 45 minutes that we mentioned before. Now, common learning mistakes that we need to avoid when we are studying and learning is to highlighting everything. That highlighting kind of take us back to extraneous load, which kind of overload our working memory. Sometimes I see learners with loads of bunches of highlighting and then kind of go and highlight every single thing in their pack of learning and notes and things like that. Rereading notes passively, it's not a good idea. It's not a good practice, so avoid that, please. Cramming before exam, it's a really weak and very, very negative practice, so I would avoid that. Multitasking is another thing that we shouldn't be doing, and illusion of competence. So try to avoid these for you to have a good learning session and effective learning with the knowing your memories and how your memory works in mind. Learning is not exposure. Learning is retrieval plus focus plus the reduced overload, which we now know, hopefully, about how our memory works and how our working memories got limited capacity. Design learning with memory process and cognitive load theory in mind. And that's the key takeaway from today's session. And I'm sorry if I went through really fast on over my PowerPoint, but we can go through, and I can just go through back quickly about this forgetting curve again, which is the very important and basically the key from today's session. Any questions are welcome, and I'm happy to answer the questions and ask and answer questions in Pashto and Dari. Anna, thank you. Oh, flashcards are, so flashcard, do you want me to say it in Pashto, English, or Dari? Illusion, like you shy to fukuruki done any language. Okay, so, right, okay, English. Illusion is when you kind of, when you're not with yourself, when you don't know, you kind of completely forget about competence. So, yeah. Hallucination, illusion. Hello?
Yes, dear teacher, you're audible. He is asking about explain this in Pashto.
Explain what in Pashto, sorry?
Illusion. I think he was asking about this word.
Okay. Illusion. لکه چې ځان غلطول، لکه ځان نه پویول په illusion. Yeah. So سپینغر شته تاسو؟ سپینغر صاحب؟
ممکن توهم ډېر ښاغلي ورته بدل وي توهم.
او امیدوارم چې تاسو پوه شوئ. شکرالله زرک ورور. illusion. And flashcard لکه کارتونه دي، مثلا لکه خپله ورقه باندې چې یو نوشته کوي، زه وګورم تاسو ته که زه وکولی شم هغه را پیدا کړم. flashcard کارتونه دي چې په هغو کې خپله نوشته کوئ، سوال مثلا په یوه خوا سوال نوشته کوئ، په بله خوا کې جواب وي. همدن سوال لونې که خپله جواب ورکولی شي، جواب ورکولی شي. reception او ډېره مننه نور احمد شاهین صاحب، ډېره مننه. So دلته ډېر ښایسته تشریح کړی دی illusion. تاسو ته شکرالله ورور کولی شي تاسو وګورئ هغو ته. So yeah, flashcard په یو مخ باندې سوال نوشته کوئ، په شا باندې تاسو جواب بدغو. هغه کارت خپله لونئ، کله که په سوال په جواب پوهېدلی په خپله پیش دادن چې هغو جواب ته وګورئ تاسو خپله ځان ته جواب ورکوئ په ورقه کې. اندن کله هم چې جواب نوشته کړه هغه کارت بیرته مخ را اړوئ د بله خوا ته. بعضې وخت تیار چاپ شوي پرنټ شوي خرڅېږي، بعضې وخت بعضې شاګردان خپله ځان ته جوړوي مثلا د ما اولادونه همیشه خپل ځانو ته دوی فلش کارت خپل جوړوي یا زه خپل ځان ته کله چې سټډي کوم خپل ځان ته فلش کارت خپل جوړوم. But then you can find them already printed out as well. It depends which subject and which topic you're doing. Flashcards.
Dear all, if anyone have any question, you can raise your hand. So then we would go through that question. If anyone has any question, kindly raise your hand. Not, I mean, in your home, just virtually here, you have option here.
Headache after 25 minutes of study, but can't get headache. I think Germany also provide flashcards for study. Germany, Obaid Safi. I think, do you mean Germany, the country? I don't know which one you're referring to because we did the German load and then Germany as well. Oh, German, right, okay, yeah, okay. They do, yes. There is loads of, platform. They do. I've missed the question from one of our audience at the top. I think he was on about he's having headache after 25 minutes or so.
Yeah, dear teacher, he was asking about that question. Like after 25 minutes, he's getting a headache while he's just scrolling down on social media. Nothing is going to happen. So he's asking how he can cooperate with this problem.
Oh, right. Okay. So headache is usually a result of I'm not a doctor to give you an answer on that, but what I know as an educator, I know that headache is usually results of lack of water, because if you do not drink enough water, that can change the shape of your blood, the red blood cells which carry oxygen to the brain, and when that's changed shape, the change shape of blood can only be fixed with hydration, like having to have some water. 99.9% of headache is due to that. But of course, while you're studying, that can increase because of your working memory getting overload. That can increase the chance of your headache. Now, research suggests that when you are revising, when you are doing even an exam, having to have some sip of water increase the chances of recalling information. Now, this is not me saying this. This is research and experiment suggests this. You can Google it. You can go do some more digging in this field as well. But water is a magic. So have some water next to you. Not tea, not the green tea or black tea or the Pakistani tea, just water, pure water. Put it next to you, have a sip of water and it suggests, research suggests that it helps to recall information as well, especially in exam. So we always tell our learners to bring a bottle of water with you, and if they do not have water, we provide them water because it helps the brain to recall information, and it's got a magic power. Alhamdulillah. So yeah, it's really important to have water.
Dear teacher, I have a question. I don't know, rest of participants, they are not asking, so I have to go. Actually,
go ahead.
As a student, I'm sure most of participants here, they might face such a problem. Like during exams, dear teacher, like we face with multiple choices question. Suppose the question is asking about the capital of Afghanistan is Kabul. I know, like it's just a piece of example. So I know already that the capital is Kabul. Like I was reading, and during the exam, I'm just searching for the exact word, for the exact option. While when I downward the exams, when I leave the exam hall, I just noticed this point that I selected the wrong, I selected Mazar Sharif, Balkh, or Jalalabad. So what should we do with this type of staffs? Like firstly, we are thinking this option is correct, but suddenly we're changing. And when we leave the exam, many times we face, and many of my friends, they were faced with the same scenario, and they were asking me like how we can go through this situation. Can you have a light on this question?
Yeah, of course, Marcel John, I'll do that now. So how brain works, it's amazing. Now, Well, all I suggest, and this is based on research, and research suggests that how our brain works is, so say, for example, Mursal John, that you gave me an example of the capital of Afghanistan is Kabul, and we all know 100% it's Kabul. But so when you read the question, the brain will recall the correct information at the first instance. So what you need to do is note down that. This is an automatic response. This is how our brain and how the memory works. As soon as that information come to you first, you need to write it down. And that's like 70% of times, that is the right information that your brain is providing it to you. But brain also is, as it is the smartest part of your body, it can be the foolish part of your body as well, because your brain sometimes can overthink and overprocess information, which is not a good thing then about your brain. So if you know how your brain works, and then you picked it up the first instant, the information that come to you, the first information همیه چیزی که در مغزت آمد اولین دفعه، اونمو سوال، اونمو جواب صحیح است، به خاطر که اتوماتیکلی مغز سوال وقتی که پرسان میکنه از شما، اسپشیلی سوالایی که مولتی چویس داشته باشن، آپشن اوله که مغزت بهت میگه that's the option, go for it and 100% go for that, because this is how the science of brain works, and it's usually recall the correct information at the first instance before it makes it complicated and overthink and, you know, multitask, and all these can have an impact on it. So the first recall or retrieve of information is the correct option. So, and you will notice that. Tell me if you haven't, Marcel. So
yeah,
you
dear
may
teacher,
notice
many
that
times this semester, like I lost many marks because of these types of stuff. But I noticed, yeah, I have to know that most of the time I'm thinking first option is the correct one while I do that again.
What's the reason of forgetting things and how to improve them? Forgetting is a natural thing. So our brain, well, it's like a normal process. So our brain works, and the brain only remember things that is helping for survival. So anything that's not helping for survival, the brain is not, you know, it's not important. It's not going to remember it. So we need to persuade our brain to tell him that this information is important and I need to know this for my survival. And now when I say survival, it means like hot and cold and, you know, death and life and things like that. But how we train our brain to know that these information are good for me and I need it for survival, by retrieving, by disrupting that forgetting curve. So by making sure that information has been revisited and repeated and recalled and retrieved, which is the different ways of doing this, of course. And that kind of push the information from our working memory into our long-term memory, which is where the information is stored. Now, it will take like a few times, minimum of 10 times, for you to revisit information, recall, and use it practically for the information to get into the back of your head, which is the long-term memory, which has got the massive big storage. It can store information in different files, and it's like a computer basically with magnificent storage capacity. So it's really important, yeah. I hope I've answered your question, Obaid.
Mr. Noor
More
Aish,
question?
I'm not sure, I don't know, sorry dear teacher, I think he has a question. He raised his hand. Noor Aish,
yeah.
I can kindly go through your question.
Sure thing. Thank you for the opportunity. First of all, salam alaikum to everybody, and thank you very much for the presentation, Narges Bey. I have a quick question, and it is that does multitasking negatively impact memory encoding?
Yes, it has, and it is one of the things that I have suggested that it's got to be avoided. It has got a massive impact. Yeah, multitasking kind of overload our working memory. So you are not focused on one task. Like you haven't got attention to one task, like 100% attention. And it's really important for your working memory to enable it to process the information effectively before the information can be passed into our long-term memory. So it's got a massive impact, and it has to be avoided. Yeah.
Right. Thank you. And one more thing, that when I'm, for example, working, or for example, if I'm studying, the best way that my mind can perform is if I have a music background.
Yeah.
Is music considered as a multitasking, or is it something that our senses are involved and it reduces our memory encoding? Or is there any way that I can get rid of this habit and develop a newer habit?
It's absolutely no. That's a really, really good thing to mention, because I say it here: build concentration stamina. So every individual's got different, and it's really important for everyone to know themselves. Like people, we've got learners who's got SEND needs, and unfortunately in Eastern world, it's not something that's known very well. So we've got students with, for example, speech and language needs. We've got students with autism. We've got students with ADHD, students with social, emotional, and mental health needs. All these. So it's really important for every individual to be aware, to know themselves first, to know what their body wants, and you need to work and listen to your body and cooperate with your body. So music helps you to concentrate, Nur Ahmad Shaheen. That's the best way to go for it. Go for it, and you do not have to change that habit, no, because that's your body and that's your brain. That's how it focuses, and that's how you're going to go ahead and do it. It's really a good way. And believe it or not, not just to you, Sharon John, to the whole of the audience, I sometimes play music in my classroom when I do my teaching for my learners, when they do their individual like independent task, like their practice for them. It's their time now to practice on the task. I put a little music on at the background, and they do their work, and I just do my work, and it's really helped. It's a good tool. Well done. Yeah.
Yes. Perfect. Thank you very much. Really appreciate you. Thank you.
No problem. No problem. One more question. I studied the history subject, and there are so many years, numbers that I should. Yeah, so I know that's Milad, Marie. Yeah, Milad, I know that now. So what you can do for your brain to memorize all the years, write down like a chronological order. So write like an order of history. So say in this year, this happens, and that way your brain and kind of reduce the load. So write like a story, summarize it. You know, the tree branches, like make a tree and then start the year from there, and then build up that tree. So make one tree for so many events that are all together linked. So it will work, hopefully. And I hope you've got my message there. If not, thanks a lot. Got them. Yeah. Yeah, so that will help you, because then your brain will remember that tree, and always put with one tree. So if there's like 5 or 4 years, sometimes you know the order of events that happens, and they are closely linked to each other. Make one tree for it, and then relevant. Yeah, I will do that for you, Hijran, of course. Yeah, so that tree then kind of will create an image in your head, and you can always recall that, and it will help you to kind of put the events that happened closer to each other in one tree. And you can have like a forest, and you will end up, of course, when you're studying history, it's going to be like a forest. So you make yourself a garden. Speak Pashto. Okay. So okay, the بل سوال ته په پښتو جواب ورکړو. اکرام الله وردک. Okay, so سوال دلته و چې forgetting curve دغه د یاد فراموشي curve چې دی دغه تر اوسه پورې relevant دی، لکه څرنګه چې ما وخت ووی. خواهش کوم، no problem. دغه still کار کوي، او په دو چې موږ مغز یگانه شی چې په یاد کې ساتي هغه د چې کله مثلا یو شی د ژوند دپاره مهم وي، نو کله چې موږ یو شی زده کوو او هغه نوی وي موږ ته، خپل مغز ته باید موږ دغه یو رقم نه په رقم د ارقام باندې خپل مغز دغه دو ته واداره کړو چې دا ومني موږ سره چې دغه معلومات چې زه زده کوم یا غواړم چې په یاد مې پاتې شي دا د ما د ژوند لپاره مهم دي او دغه یګانه لیاره دغه ده چې موږ وکولای شو د شیانو په یاد کې پاتې شي د موږ چې تکرار کو تکرار 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 او دا تکرار رقمونه لري چې باید موږ سره رقم تکرار وکړو سو کله لکه ما د وخت ووی چې په تکرار کولو کې دغه شیونه باید موږ د نظر نه وباسو چې تکرارا یو شی لولو یا هغه چې د خپل ځان د خاطر کوم مثلا مقایسوي یا رقابتونه چې لرو هغه په نظر کې باید ونیسو او څو شایه په یو ور باندې ونه کړو او همیشه په یاد کې ولرو چې کله مثلا یو سوال یا 3 سواله د پخوانی درس نه موږ تکرار کو 2 سواله د تیرې هفته د درسونه تکرار کو د ځان سره یو سوال د تیرې میاشتې د ځان سره تکرار کو دغه تکرارول په خپل د موږ او زه به شیر کوم حتما ان شاء الله د تکرارول په خپل کمک کوي چې د موږ هغه مغز میموري او نیورون کانسنټریشن یا غلظت زیات کې دغه غلظت چې زیات شي نو کمک کوي د ساینپس ته چې انفارمیشن موږ معلومات ولګي د موږ لانګ ټرم میموري ته چې هغه وګړمحاله حافظه ده هغه ته وساتل شي کله چې مواد یا کله چې نوې معلومات د موږ وګړمحاله حافظه ته ولګل شي نو هغه داسې دی لکه یو انواري چې قلف شي زیاتی هغه ته چې ننتل معلومات نو ډیر یو عادي فشار باندې به تاسو هغه معلومات بیرته په یاد راشي او په لږ کم ریویزټ یا ریټریو باندې د تاسو کولای شي چې هغه معلومات بیرته خپل ژوندانه کې په کار واخلئ د کارت واخلئ استفاده وکړئ نو د ټول هدف دا دی چې څه رقم تاسو دغه معلومات خپل وګړمحاله حافظې ته انتقال کړئ د ورکینګ میموري نه یا د دغه لنډمحاله حافظې نه چې ډیر مهم دی که کسی اگر میخواین به دری صحبت کنم لطفاً در چت بنویسین به من که به دری بعض سوالا رو به دری هم جواب بدیم من شاید کسایی باشم که
ما یک سوال به دری بپرسم
بفرمایین
چون نمیشه کل سوالات از ذهنم میاد استاد مثلا ما از تجربیات خودم میگم در جریان امتحانا یا روزمره مثلا من اسکیجول برام میموندم اگر من 100 درس خوانده باشم یا مثلا کل روز مثلا امتحان سر یک مضمون مانده باشم فرق نمیکنه که من گرفته باشم کل روز خدا در سوشال میدیا مانده باشم یا چیم من احساس میکنم زیاد درس خوانده ولی در صورتی که من 4 مثلا صد که بریک درس خوانده باشم او به من کم میاد به نظرتون استاد یعنی ماکسیمم مینیمم ما چقدر باید انتروال باشه که مثلا برای یک اوورال برای کسایی که مثلا مسئولین پانتون هستن اونا موثر بتونن درس بخونن
تشکر بسیار زیاد مرسل جان so maximum focus time یعنی که انسان بتونه به فوق‌العاده فوکس داشته باشن 20 دقیقه است 20 دقیقه بعد حتما شما باید یک بریک بگیرین و این 20 دقیقه بهترین بس 20 دقیقه هم شما مثلا تعیین کنین که در چی وقت میتونین 20 دقیقه شما فوکس تایم داشته باشین یا وقتی که شما بر خود یک کار به خاطر درس یا مطالعه داشته باشین. Oh, kindly explain it in Pashayi. I'm sorry. I would love to explain it in Pashayi. I'm sorry, but I cannot speak that language. پشایی نمیتونم صحبت کرده ولی با یکی گفته اینجا مرسل جان میبخشین یک پیشنهاد کرده که با پشایی تشریح کنم معذرت میخوایم برادرم دیر رو بخی پشایی بنده نپیگم چه رقم بذار تشریح کنم بله 20 دقیقه بهترین وقت است که انشالله اوکی 20 دقیقه وقتی که شما فوکس داشتین بعد از 20 دقیقه یک بریک بگیرین او بریک میتونه که 1 دقیقه بخیزین مثلا استاد شوین ورسی رو ببینین پس یک just a quick sharp break and then پس دوباره بشینین به درستان ادامه بدین متداوم درس خواندن به نظرتان شاید وقت زیاد بگیره مگرم او ډیره مننه چې تاسو به بل وخت تشریح کې ډیره مننه وقت زیاد میگیره اما مؤثر واقع نمیشه. بسیار مهم است که شما وقتی که focus time دارین یا concentration time دارین, it's got to be effective and that effectiveness can only happen like with half an hour, نیم ساعت بریک بگیرین, دوباره او بریک که من میگم بریک بگیرین, باز بریکتون باید 10 دقیقه نباشه, 2 دقیقه, maybe do a star jump, just یک سپورت عاجل, یک گیلاس هاو, یک شپاو بگیرین, یک دفعه از ارسی بیرون سعی کنین, پس بیاین بشینین دوباره, یک دفعه بخیزین از جایتان, پس دوباره بشین. حدیث شریف هم هست نه که بعضی وقت که اگر overwhelm شدین, قارتان آمد یا اعصابتان نارام شد, یک دفعه از جایتان بخیزین, پس بشینین. این حدیث شریف در درس خواندن هم we can apply it there as well. میتونین که از جایتان یک دفعه بخیزین, کمک میکنه به concentration. And this isn't me saying this, من نمیگم, تحقیقات گفته و ریسرچ ایره سجست میکنه و شما خودتان هم میتونین که دیگه هم ریسرچ کنین و بپالین با evidence انشالله, با شواهد. هجران دیر مننه چه تاس بی غرور تو بیا تشریح که بشه بنده.
Ustad Tuba Janam, dear Tuba, you may go through the question. What is your question? You may unmute yourself.
Okay. توبا نوشته کده سوال خودم مرسل جان؟
نه خیر استاد جان, متوجه نشدم ولی ایشان دستشان بلند کردن.
سلام, من میخوایم سوال خود بگویم. شما شاید متوجه شده باشین گاهی اوقات وقتی که ما مطالعه میکنیم یا چیز را میخوایم از یاد بکنیم یا آمادگی به امتحان یا هر چیز دیگه, ولی میخوایم بخوانیم و یاد بگیریم چیز را, با ما تو یک فیلینگ کاذب رخ میده که ما زیاد خواندیم و کلی نمی انفورمیشن دیگه در ذهن ما هسته, شاید به خاطر از اینکه اودمو شارت ترم مموری ما هسته. الان که وقتی که در سنس میریم یا مثلا میریم جایی که امون نالجی که از یاد کردیم یا باید رو پرزنت بکنیم, تا اندازه احساس میکنیم که نه خیر او قدر که من احساس میکنم یاد گرفتیم کلش به ذهن من آمده. این چه قسم یک فیلینگ کاذب است و چطور میتونیم میره اوایید بکنیم, چطور میتونیم میک شور بکنیم که کل انفورمیشن صحیح از ذهن خود گرفتیم و دیگه آماده هستیم.
اوکی, بسیار زیاد تشکر توبا جان, سوال بسیار خوب کردین شما. اینجا اینی سلاید ما براتون میگم که common learning mistake است, اشتباهاتی که بسیار عام است وقتی که ما یادگیری میکنیم یا یک چیز را میخوایم نو یاد بگیریم. و او را که شما امیال گفتین به ما rereading notes, cramming before exam, این همی یک اشتباه است که باید نکنیم. پیش از امتحان فقط آرام و collective, calm and collective به امتحان تان میرین و اونو ورقه را که میگیرین یا میخوانین یا نوشته میکنین پیش از exam, that's like memory تانه پر میسازه, working memory تانه overwhelm میکنه and the information is not going to get processed and you just like it has, yes, خودتان گفتین که یک feeling کاذب است و overwhelming است, مطلق شما اصلا information process نمیشه, اونمونجا استارت میشه و مغزتان دیگه زیر فشار است. زهره something concentration decrease. امیدوار هستم که من سوال شما رو جواب داده تانستیم توبا جان خوارم. یک سوال دیگه از خواهر دیگه ما داریم که میگن آنلاین لرنینگ که میکنیم بعض وقت کانسنتریشن ما دیکریس میشه, فوکس ما پایین میه به خاطر که دیسترکشن است. what technique can so مختلف تکنیک ها رو میتونین شما استفاده کنین. دوست عزیز ما اینجا یاد گرفتن یا به خاطر سپردن معلومات یگانه راهش اونموست که ما تکرار کنیم و تکرار را به رقم کنیم که او را براتون ما پیشنهاد کردیم که میتونین فلش کارت داشته باشین یا تست کنین خدا یا آنلاین همون تست هایی که از او را میتونین تست کنین و یا هم به این رقم که سوالا را تکرار کنین و اینی فوکس تایم که ما پیشنهاد کردیم براتون، اینی را همیشه دمو یک وقت برین، به خاطر که شما مغزتان ترین میکنین. مثل که یک طفل شما کلان میکنین، به همین رقم مغزتان شما ترین میکنین. و وقتی که محصل هستین، وقتی که شاگرد هستین، وقتی که در جریان تحصیل و دوره تحصیل هستین، part of learning your academic learning is also for you to be prepared for your future life as well. که اونا enemy revisiting and revising and retrieving in a specific time with a regular routine بسیار مهم است. امیدوار هستم که من سوالتون جواب داده تانستیم خواهر گلم. و یگانه راهایی که شما میتونین دیسترکشن کم کنین، میتونین که اینترنت مثلا گل کنین و بسیاری پلتفرم ها نوتیفیکیشن هایشون میتونین که بند کنین. اگرچه بسیاری وقت پول اضافی میخواه، میتونین که شما امو کوکیز که سونو را علاو نکنین، اجازه ندین که بیاین. تشکر زهره جان.
استاد ببخشید اینجا دوستا دخترا، یکی نیلام جان مزمل و یکی هم شکرانک برید. دخترا میشه انمیوت کنین و سوالتان بپرسین، چون استاد در چت سوالایشان مانده بود، باز سوالشان به جواب نمانه. شکرانک جان و نیلام جان مزمل اگه میشن میوت کنین خدا و سوالتان بپرسین. Dear all, does anyone has any question? Because it's 10:27, so 10:30 we have to go at the end of the session. If anyone doesn't have any questions, so we're going to, by the permission of all you participants, go and end this meeting. Does anyone has any question? So thanks a bunch, dear teacher, as we came to at the end of today's webinar. So we sincerely thanks to Ms. Nilofer Nargisbek for her inspiring words and valuable insight. And actually your journey today remind me that a powerful truth where there is a determination, there is a way. So thank to all participants for joining and engaging with us tonight. And guys, just a quick remember part of sentences. Stay focused, learn deeply, never ever give up. Thanks a bunch, dear teacher. Lots of love from here, from Islamabad, a big hug to UK. And it was really a wonderful webinar for me. And I'm really happy we have such a woman in Afghanistan and who is working hard.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm so proud that you all
the presentation.
Go ahead, sorry, brother. I'm sorry to disrupt you.
Thanks, Abinder. All your stickers explain. Thanks, Abinder. Thanks, Abinder, their teacher, and it was really nice and a brilliant webinar.
Thank you. Thank you very much, folks. I'll pray for you all. It's nearly our iftar time. I'll say goodbye to all of you and good luck with your study. And yes, never ever give up. We are strong. We can do this. I know there's loads of difficulties, and well done to you all to overcoming these challenges and still not give up. And you are resilient people. Well done, folks. So carry on with your good work. Yeah, keep it up. خداحافظ.
خداحافظ.